The new Mustang is finally here, and I already made a video on it on my second channel talking a little bit more about the spec and tech, but in this video we're gonna focus on the exterior design. First of all, let me say that I'm a huge fan of the direction Ford took the Ford Mustang, because they moved away from the facelifted, I think it was 2018 or something like that, the facelift, the last generation Mustang. It got so sporty and lost some of that muscle car feel, but I think they're going back to that with this design. The Coyote V8 is still alive and well, and we have up to over 500 horsepower in this new dark horse Mustang, which is definitely my favorite of these. But we do have some problems, in my opinion, in the rear, and that's what I want to redesign in this video. I want to show you the different styles of the new Mustang. Up top we have the base model, which I think is the 2.3 liter inline 4 with a turbo on it, and it looks like this. I think the front end is absolutely stunning. Look at this line that we have that kind of starts the front fascia. It has a clear defined starting point where the front fascia starts, and that's, I think it's essential if you want to have it be more of a muscle car than a sports car. Then we have the 3 LEDs in the front end, as you can see right here, bringing back that Mustang graphic features in the front end. A very simple graphics in the front. We have the traditional Mustang grille here, which has this, in the base model at least, it is an extended sort of plastic trim piece that we have below it, which makes the grille look bigger. But I love this front end. It's very clean and very simple, and that's exactly what I want to see in a Mustang. And then we have the rear view here as well, which this is where I think the problem is for this Mustang. The overhang in the rear is shorter than it was before, and you can see that the graphics in the rear, they feel, to me, they feel all over the place. There are too many angles here. We have this cut line, which is pretty thick, first of all, but we have these corners of this cut line, and then we have these corners in the taillights as well. I like the taillights. Of course, they are the 3 bars that is so synonymous with Mustang rear ends. I love that they kept those, but I think we can work on the rear end here to create some more confidence in the rear and also some more mass in the rear, because I think the rear looks too weak, specifically when you compare it to the front end. So this is the GT in the middle, and you can see that the grille has now changed from the base model. We have these GT winglets in the front end, and we still have this plastic trim piece, but the air vents in the side are bigger, and we have a bigger overall grille, it looks like. The lower part from this point looks to be the same as the base. In the rear, we have a wing now on the GT model. You can see that it has all these angles to it as well, and this is something I really want to change this wing, because honestly I'm not a huge fan of the way it looks. I'm not a huge fan of these things that supports it in the middle as well. I want to have a simple wing similar to the GT350, for example. The rear end of that car looks solid and confident. I want to bring some of that feel into the rear end of the new Mustang. And we have 4 bazooka tailpipes, which I love. I love that it comes with a manual still, a proper manual transmission connected to a V8 rear-wheel drive. That's all you want in a muscle car. But the beast of the lineup is definitely the dark horse, as you can see right here. It has a bigger wing, but in pretty much the same style as the GT wing. We have bigger exhausts, and these are definitely bazooka exhausts down here. And we have a different front end as well, with some black plastic or trim piece here that's not body colored. What I love about the grille in the dark horse is that you see the angles here in the GT, they're now straight. They go straight up and down, which I think suits a muscle car more. I want to show you some of the initial sketches here from the design process of the official Ford design team. You can see that when we start up top here, they went very sporty. So this is super sports car-like sketches, in my opinion. I love this treatment of the taillights, this 3D effect that we have almost in an ellipse, and then we have the taillights being these 3-dimensional pieces going into this ellipse. Very cool way. But you can see some different iterations of ideas of the taillights here. You have some more organic looking taillights. This looks pretty cool, but I just don't think that this would be suitable for a muscle car. Maybe some sort of Mustang sports car could have something like this. The closer we get to the final iteration of the new Mustang, the more restrained it got, and the less curvature. There's a lot of curvature, for example, in this sketch right here that looks very good, but it doesn't look muscle car either, and same thing with these sketches all over this sheet. But then when we get into the, you can see these are the clay models here, and one clay model that I wish Ford would have gone with is this rear end. I absolutely love the way this looks, and this to me would have been such a better rear end for the Mustang. We have one framing of the taillights and sharp chisels and no edges or no corners in these lines, and then we have these lights tilting slightly outwards. As you can see, they're tilted a little bit this way, which creates a plantedness when you look at it from a rear end like this. You can see this is more like we have in the production version where they go inwards. I would like to have them go outwards instead, like we have in this gorgeous sketch right here. So they didn't go with that suggestion. They went with this one down here. In the interior, we have, I talked about this, I'm not going to talk about it that much in this video, but we have this dash, which in the base model you have two separate screens like this, and in the premium GT, for example, you have one continuous big piece of glass stuck onto the dash. I think that could have been done differently as well. This is fine for a cute little city EV. You can have a big screen like that. I don't mind that. But if you have a muscle car, specifically if you have a Mustang, I want to have more of a proper gauge cluster. It can still be digital. Don't just put a screen like that on a Mustang. I just don't feel like it's the right approach for the interior design. However, looking at the steering wheel, yes, we now have a flat bottom steering wheel, so thank you Ford for that. All right, so this is the view that I'm gonna be redesigning. Quickly just talk about what I want to do. So the rear view is what we're gonna focus on, obviously. I'm gonna extend the taillights down to this point, make this line almost straight like this, and have the taillights connect to this line, similar to what we had in this gorgeous sketch right here, but work more with these final graphics and implement some features from that sketch into this design. And you see that the overhang in the rear is shorter than the previous model. I want to move this angle out more like this, so have it be almost more vertical. I think pulling the diffuser out, it's going to create more of a solid, confident, powerful rear end, and we need to have that in a Mustang. I think this looks a little too weak in my opinion. Then I'm gonna add a sharp shoulder line right here that fades into this muscle, and I'm also gonna add the hockey stick design line that we have in the 2010 to 2014 Mustang that we also had in the original Mustangs. I think bringing that back will break up this big surface that is a calm ocean with no waves. It makes it look a little heavier in this section, and I want to break that up with these two lines to reduce the visual weight of this design. So with that said, let's continue here in Photoshop and let's see how this result is going to turn out. As I said, I'm a huge fan of the Mustang, and I'm really glad that Ford went in this direction, specifically with the front end. The front end looks absolutely fantastic in my opinion. I think it looks way more muscle car-y than the previous generation Ford Mustang, and I'm glad to see that. But I think the rear end needs some work, and I wish they would have worked a little bit more with the same kind of simplicity that they had in the front end. Bring that simplicity into the back. This feels like the front is super simple in its approach to both the graphics, the dimensions, the proportions, and then the further back you get, the busier it gets, specifically when they added this really busy wing in the rear end. So I want to simplify all that, and I think I'm going to experiment with making the deck lid black, because we had that in a few Mustangs in the past, and I think that would also break up some of the visual busyness in the rear, but just having that desaturated and have it be black, it's going to look really cool. But I'm going to focus on working on the proportions of the lower end of the diffuser, bring that out just a tiny bit, and I think these changes will really transform the plantedness and the mass, the strength of the rear end, and that's the whole purpose of this redesign. And you can see that the taillights, they feel like almost like a tape, red tape that they put on. They're very flat, They don't have any sort of three-dimensional feel to them, and I want to change that and also add a bit of curvature to the center part where it kind of cuts really sharp in the middle of these two chamfers. I want to have a bit of a curvature there to connect it specifically with the chamfers that is actually housing this whole graphics of the rear end. You have the cut line that goes in the corner, it goes up to the very end point of the housing of the taillights. You have a nice corner there that's not 90 degrees sharp. So let's bring that corner in to the actual taillights of the design. And for the wheels, I want to change the wheels up to the GT350R wheels. I think those are simple and will suit any type of Mustang, because Mustang in its essence is supposed to be a powerful, fun car with very simple graphics and design, and that's kind of what I bring out in this redesign. For the side view, as I said, I think the side view, specifically where the 50 badge sits, there's nothing going on there. If you zoom in, you're just going to have a blue ocean with a 50 badge, no sort of creases or lines in the body, and the further you zoom out, the heavier this area of the car gets. So let's break that up by having a line that goes from the door handle and then stretches into the front corner of the front headlights, but kind of fades in when it goes across the front wheel arch and then coming back in the front headlights. So you can connect that line from the front headlights going in straight into the door handle as it fades out again in the rear muzzle. In the lower part of the side, I want to add this hockey stick design. I think that adds some forward movement to this car as well, and I think it just suits the car both from a styling standpoint and also from a historical standpoint. As I said, they had this line in the very early Mustangs. Overall, fantastic job by Ford, and I can't wait to see what people are actually going to modify this and make these Mustangs their own. And I'm looking forward to see all these Mustangs out on the road in about a year or so. There are going to be so many of them, and I think overall it's just a great design. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.